Boston's World Music CRASHarts is a 29-year-old arts presenter. They produce world music, dance, jazz, and new music performances, but don't have a permanent venue of their own.
So we work in every space that is available to us, from 200 seats to 3,500 seats. This means we rent. It gives us flexibility because we can place an artist into the correct space for the best possible experience that an audience can have. What it takes away is a branding identity.
When it's not our own venue, we have limitations in signage and presence, so we can tell our audience who we are. If audience members purchase the tickets through the venue, sometimes we get their information, sometimes we don't. So the ability to re-engage with them, to tell them about our other upcoming concerts, is really limited.
From a marketing perspective, I think we're always going to face the struggle of not having a venue. As many times as you try and drill it in that this is a World Music CRASHarts event, people just say, I went to the Berkeley Performance Center. That's much easier to remember.
Originally, we thought that was all right. If we just sold tickets and the concert sold well, that's what we were in business to do. But as we look more into fundraising and building a community, we need to make sure they know our name.
To build audience sustainability, World Music CRASHarts conducted extensive market research to better understand their branding issues.
When we did the research, we'd been around for 25 years. Nobody knew our name. They were calling us World Crash, Crash World, or they just thought they went to a concert at the Somerville Theatre and it was the Somerville Theatre putting it on. That was a total shock.
One of the things that really surprised me about the research was the response the focus groups had to our season brochure. When we showed it to a group of younger people, aged 21 to 40, the immediate response was, wow, my dad would really like this. And that told us pretty quickly that we needed to do some redesign work just as well as rebranding.
Research showed us that our audience has grown older. We need to start programming and creating events for an audience between 21 and 40, and we need to start doing it now. CRASHfest is such an event. This is 10 different artists on 3 stages with food, with beverage.
CRASHfest allows us a larger focus on branding and taking over the space. At our regular season shows, we don't have the capacity to try and take over a venue like we do House of Blues.
World Music CRASHarts hoped that CRASHfest would be an introduction to the organization. To help expand their audience, they first had to understand more about the current audience, starting with better data collection.
So at this year's CRASHfest, we had 2 opportunities to gather people's emails and age. We had swag at the door. The photo booth was also an email capture. So once we have their email address, obviously we can send them other concert information. Our post-performance surveys give us some metrics of how people found out about a concert, and some of that tells us it's through social media. Some of it's through our emails, our website, our brochure. So we're starting to track those kinds of response rates.
I found about this place from Spotify.
I get emails from the CRASHarts.
I wasn't able to make it to the other CRASHfest, but I'm super excited. It's going to be my new yearly tradition.
The past 2 CRASHfests showed that 50% of the audience was aged 21 to 40. Of that, about 60 to 70% of them were first-time buyers. We've seen from the first festival, about 27% have returned to our other concerts, which is much higher than we usually see.
At our regular season shows, we see more like 20% on average under 40, so it's a huge increase for CRASHfest. It's also nice to see it being multi-generational. It shows that we're reaching new audiences, but also keeping our older audience happy as well.
The first year we had 1,500 at the festival. In 2017, there were 1,600, and I'm glad to say there were 1,850 this year. The first year of the festival, the gross was $38,000. It grew to $50,500 the next year, and then this year we're really pleased that we were at $61,000.
But despite this growth, CRASHfest is still not sustainable. The deficit for the first year was $58,667. The deficit for year 2 was $54,166. And the deficit for the most recent year was $40,545.
I think the festival will only become sustainable if we either change venues so we have a higher capacity, do the festival over multiple nights, or be able to find more funding and sponsorship to really grow the festival.
The larger the festival can become, the larger the sponsorship that you'll attract. And within 6 years, I would hope it has a title sponsor, so somebody that is really putting up like $50,000 to sponsor it.
CRASHfest is helping drive younger audiences to events that are financially sustainable. These are special re-engagement events tailored to younger audiences, organized throughout the year and advertised heavily at CRASHfest. To encourage turnout at these events, World Music CRASHarts has also created a special membership program.
Our CRASHers program is twofold. There's our activities and engagement directed towards the millennial audience, and then there's the CRASHers membership, which is a $50 lower level membership to become a donor of our organization.
The CRASHers membership program, that's been around for about 3 or 4 years. It currently represents 9% of our membership base, which is great because most of them are all new members.
The long-range goal is to get people who are in their 20s and 30s now, as they age, to become eventual donors and to invest in the organization long-term.
I have heard of World CRASHarts, yes. I've been to many of their shows.
A friend of mine recommended this concert to me. It was fantastic. I have no words, it was so good.
I pay an annual fee, it's pretty nominal, and that supports the arts, and it's good for me because it means that the artists are coming and I get a little bit of a discount when I buy the tickets.
To tackle the rebranding challenge, World Music CRASHarts hired an outside agency, Manelli Incorporated.
So right now the organization has 2 names, World Music CRASHarts. It's both limiting and doesn't really represent the spectrum of what they're doing. Yes, they do music, they also do dance. They have jazz composition, so there are lots of things that don't fit in either one of those buckets, and they don't really fit together comfortably on their own. So it was causing a lot of confusion in the marketplace.
A rebranding is going to be a really great opportunity for us to make our name easier to market and get out there. Personally, I attended 3 World Music CRASHarts concerts, and I had no idea that they were presented by World Music CRASHarts before I joined the team.
Their multiple names and identities have not worked well in traditional media, and they're really not working well in social media. So I think in both of those spheres, they really need something that has brevity, clarity, and impact.
Having a new name is really scary. We have done a lot, especially in the last 5 years, to build up our SEO online, to have some recognition in the marketplace. We have, 40,000 audience members who hopefully know a little bit about us. We don't want to lose them. So I think we're going to have to work really hard to make sure that people know that the product hasn't changed, that we haven't changed as an organization, but we're just communicating who we are better.
Engagement equals attention plus emotion. So if you want engagement, you have to capture people's attention, so you can't throw them too many notes at the beginning. It has to be something that catches them. And I think graphically, it's really evocative. It has energy and momentum. There's a lot of emotion around it. If you put those 2 things together, that's introducing the conversation in a really positive way to build engagement.
When we settled on a descriptive name, we really wanted to make sure that the graphics that go with that were really edgy and contemporary and were a foil for that straight descriptive name and were kind of the evocative piece that went with the tagline.
The name that we have settled on puts a spotlight on our mission. It informs the viewer, the listener, that this is an organization that presents performing arts from all parts of the world. I hope when we use it in marketing that you want to see the person who is under that spotlight, that it'll lead to action.
We've seen from our initial research that it has a pretty high level of excitement to younger people when they see it. So there's a lot of appeal in the programming. We just had to get the brand to reflect that. And I think that will bode well for attracting new audiences.
Rolling out the new brand requires patience, and it requires, honestly, money. We have $100,000 right now committed to the rolling out of the brand. Our key stakeholders will get an email in May informing them of there's about to be a change in name, but not in programming. And then, of course, there's informing people that don't know who you are. But the challenge for us now is we need to find $250,000 to do this.
We could play it safe.
When we started out with the process, a lot of branding companies explained to me that if you change your name and your logo, but don't change anything else, you're not going to get anywhere. And hopefully Manelli will help us come up with some really great strategies to make ourselves known in the venues. We do that at CRASHfest, and we want to take what we've learned working on the festival into each of our venues. That'll take some institutional change and some real commitment, but it's imperative.